Dang it. Angry MGTOW here. Today I'm discussing the quality of life is getting worse in America for millennials, and I've got my favorite pooch Edindro, and we'll be touching on these topics. I can hear like the squeaking in the background. So I'm gonna do like a screen share. If you guys see porn on my computer, don't hate me for it.
It's the Russians. The Russians.
The Russians.
Okay. Trying to frame you for porn.
Okay, so this is what we have here, and okay, so this is. Are you seeing my screen now, Ed?
Oh, sorry, hang on. Yep, I got you.
Okay, it's showing RT, right?
Yep.
Okay, so millennials selling their possessions to pay for food survey, and basically this article says that new figures show that people born after 1983, me, I was born in 1983, are more likely.
I was born in 1983.
Really? I thought you were only 30.
I'm 34.
Oh shit! Ed, you just had a birthday then, didn't you?
I did, yeah, last year. I did have one last year. Not even last month, January, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so new figures show that people born after 1983 are more likely to have borrowed money from friends and family or sold their possessions in order to pay their bills. This sounds like you, Ed.
No, I haven't had to do that.
No, but you know, we're all kind of hurting right now. A survey by broker Norton Finance has revealed that over a third of 18 to 13 to 34-year-olds are going without food and heating, as stalling salaries and rising living costs turn making ends meet into a nightmare for young people.
I believe this, yeah.
With this piece of research, we wanted to take a snapshot of British finances, looking at how each generation is handling their money. The group's managing director, Paul Stringer, said, "It struck us that the younger generation is having a tough time at the moment, something that's evidenced in headlines on a regular basis. A whopping 40% of those quizzed by Norton admitted to spending beyond their means." But I can bet that when controlled by gender, I'm pretty sure that women are having a harder time than men. The average British salary showed a minimal 0.3% increase, holy cow, this January, but most regional incomes have fallen significantly over the last year. London in particular saw a decline of more than 4%, with job vacancies exceeding 244,000. Costs, on the other hand, have been steadily growing, with rent on a one-bedroom home costing just over €800, which is US for $977 per month on average, and well over $1,500 per month in the capital. Many predict things will get much worse for millennials after Article 50 is triggered to begin the formal process of leaving the EU, with last year's referendum already being blamed for a weak pound and a 1.8% rise in inflation. According to Norton Finance, millennials are also incapable of buying homes and getting rid of bad credit. Wow, we're seeing a drop in home ownership in those aged between 25 and 34, and many members of this generation are coming out of university with a large amount of student loan debt, Stringer added. Perhaps the most striking finding is that 1 in 10 youngsters believe it's unlikely they'll ever retire. More than a quarter of those quizzed said they felt as though their parents definitely had it better than them, which is factual. A previous report by the financial group found that 1 in 4 millennials are losing sleep over their finances, with many lying to their friends and family about the state of their bank accounts. So, I mean, this is just downright ridiculous. That's the entire article. And I mean, I can definitely say that as a millennial, it's hell out there. I was thinking to myself today, like, how fortunate I am that I've been able to make an income doing what I'm doing now, even if it's not a shitload, it's something. And it's so much better than having to go into a horrible office working 9 to 5 for pennies. I mean, it's just a terrible thing. And it's so hard to survive right now as a millennial. It's like, you literally just work to live. I mean, what's your experiences like? What do you think, Ed?
Well, I mean, obviously, There, I am echoing on your end when I talk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better now. Okay. Well, obviously, you know that I recently lost my job. I have, I do have a backup plan, but like my experiences with this has been, I mean, it's funny. The rent costs that they're mentioning there are about as much as it is down here on average. When I wanted to move out, I had to move out of state, not out of state, but out of my city to sort of a podunk redneck part of town, so that I could afford the rent.
Yeah.
And making adjustments like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Being out of work is rough, and I'm kind of fortunate though on this end though, because like me personally, I have built connections, so I have a guaranteed job that I can walk. I could be out there aggressively doing things, but I have a guaranteed job as soon as certain circumstances open up. But like if I were someone else, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. And there is the point of the soulless careerism.
Yeah.
Which is a point I actually bring up a lot, which I think is especially damaging to men. I think is probably where you're going with this. Right?
Honestly, no. I mean, right now, I think we're all suffering. We're all suffering. That's really it.
And I don't have any special experience with this because I've been a bit lucky, and then I got into my career nice and early. But like, and I just got my Google money for the first time too, so that's fucking awesome. But like in general, yeah, I mean, there's this sort of fatigue with the whole ladder climb that I've been experiencing. I'm starting to actually relate to those millennials. It's weird because I never considered myself a millennial. Do you really? Do you consider yourself a millennial?
Sadly, yes.
I know that technically.
Dude, we're not even the oldest of the millennials. The oldest millennials are like 35, 36 technically.
Right. Well, I mean, their metric seems to be right on the cusp of where I am. And it's weird, but I mean...
It's definitely getting worse. And hold on, let me look at the comments. AM, if you got a moment, can we talk RPG Red Pill Ghost is hell-bent on the upcoming debate with you, and he wants to set terms. Fuck this guy.
Terms? Anyway. I mean, do you want to talk or do you want to fuck around? So yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm kind of waking up from that. We were on a stream earlier for reference, and it was bullshit. But it was exhausting. But yeah, I do think actually that there is a point to that though. I think there is an exhaustion, I think, and I think it does affect men a little more, which is that constant need for the grind. And now with the rising cost and everything, yeah, it's just extra pressure.
I definitely agree. I mean, I think that I think women will be able to, a lot of women will go out when shit hits the fan and they'll find a man to live with. But for a lot of men, we don't have that option. If we don't have
that safety net, yeah. And I don't know what, I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know how deeply I disagree with that, to be honest. I just think society needs to reflect that. If it's going to be that way, then society needs to reflect that. But like, for one, I'm wishing that I could do YouTube. For how much do you make? Well, I can't ask you that, but like, you make enough to not have to work.
I mean, putting out almost if I put out 200 videos a month, yes.
Yeah. Okay. 200.
I put out between 90 and 200 videos a month by minimum, typically. You
just do daily streams. Multiple daily streams.
Exactly. So some days most days I do 3, some days I do 10. It's been a little while though.
Yeah, I can't fucking do that with what I do, So, yeah, and then you make a living off of that. Of course, you're still small, so if you get bigger, that gets easier. But I would love that. I just got my first YouTube check, and I'm like, Google is paying me, and that feels good, even though it's not a lot of money. But it would be amazing if I could do that. I get quite a bit from Patreon as well. Thank God for people. But like, if I could rely on that, it would be brilliant. You know, it would be something I could do.
The key is really Patreon, I think. I mean, like Roaming Millennial was telling me about this, and it's absolutely true. You can't rely on Google Ads.
No, you can't. No, and I knew that from the start. Yeah.
Patreon is what really is what you really have to focus on, and you have to build a community around that. Right now, I'm in the process of setting up a Discord server, and then basically making my Patreon first, so that people sponsor me on Patreon. This way, I don't have to worry if suddenly I have a major dip in AdSense revenue because of something that happens.
Well, yeah, or you just can't fucking do videos. You gotta go to the hospital or something. The times you really need money, you might not be able to make that AdSense revenue.
I was sick for like 2 weeks. Literally, I got an allergy. I had got a serious allergy reaction at like the first 2 weeks ago, and then after that, I basically got sick again I started recovering. It took a week for me to get better, and then like the following week, just as I'm getting better, I eat something from like a side stand, and I caught like a virus, and I got extremely sick to my stomach. So I was like nauseous, couldn't make videos for another week. So like 2 weeks making almost no videos, and it just like tanked my YouTube revenue.
Now, that's the thing. You're doing your shit live all the time, right?
I do it live. I mean, thankfully I can do it live again. I wasn't able to do it live for like 3 weeks because I had gotten a strike on my account because of some douchebag, but now I can do it live again.
Well, I mean, I obviously I don't do live videos. I'm kind of standard edited response videos, so it's really just not a thing you could 200 videos, 200 of those a month. That's just not even I don't consider that human. If you can crank out 200 put together response videos, 10-minute response videos.
No, my videos are a minimum of 15 minutes each, minimum up to an hour though.
Well, yeah, because you do the long like this, but like, yeah, I do one stream on my channel every 2 weeks, and then I just try to do as many videos as possible, but I don't really stress on it. Because I want the quality of them to be okay, for whatever the standard is. I think I do all right. Have you ever even watched my videos?
Yeah, your quality is excellent. I mean, my videos, I've learned how to actually do all the editing while I'm streaming. So it's like, I don't know if you've watched any of my videos recently, but I literally do fades and then do video and overlay.
Do you do that with Hangouts, or do you do OBS or something?
I do it through OBS.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I never figured that out. Would be easy for podcasty type things too, to show them things. But I mean, the whole fucking point, I mean, is I like doing this for fun, and if it's ever going to be a literal job for me, then I'm gonna want it to come from the people. I'm gonna trust that money more, and I don't fucking like Google. Part of me doesn't want to monetize it all, but it's just practical. But I mean, yeah, but the point was, like, I want to do something else. I'm at a point where I regret my career, because it is a career path that it'll make me a lot of money. The job I'm going to go into, that is really just me kind of picking up where I left off. It's going to pay me a lot of money, and I'm going to be kind of back on that track, but I'm going to be doing work that I don't want to do for the rest of my life. And I don't really have a choice. I'm sort of pigeonholed into doing it for the rest of my life. There's a fatigue that comes in at some point for some of us, not all of us, but, somebody in the chat was saying, some men want to be slaves. Well, it really is slavery. Like, it really does start to feel like slavery. And it's and the reason I say for men is because we don't have much of a choice but to do this. Women play with the choice, but they've always got a way out if things don't work out.
I think that's one of the things that upsets a lot of MGTOWs. Like, they basically talk about that. The only thing is, I try to stress this on guys, like, don't let that anger, don't let it consume you, because if it consumes you, you lose your way.
No, it doesn't anger me. I'm not obviously. I don't know if you even consider me a MGTOW now, but like I believe there's going to be a double standard, regardless. I just don't like it when they pretend that it's a privilege, when they pretend that going to work, consuming your life in soulless careerism, climbing that ladder up to the point where you're a Fortune 500 fucking CEO, like this is not a good life. This is not like a healthy, happy family life. This isn't. This isn't what most women want either.
You know, it's funny as you mentioned that Sheryl Sandberg, Sheryl Sandberg, she basically talked about how important it is to choose your life partner, and everyone who you choose, anyone who you choose has to support your career. And she's such an absolute idiot because, you know, a lot of men, we don't work because we want to. We work because it supports our families. If we had the opportunity to stay at home and take care of our kids full time and be with our wives and do what we wanted to do, we would do absolutely that. Many of us, we work because we have to. Women think that it's a luxury to work, and they don't really understand the concept behind that.
I say that a lot. When you want to talk about like fucking merit and that men working harder, and they bring up that statistic, and the statistic says men work harder, and they get all fucking upset about it because it sounds negative. It sounds like a slam against them. The hardworking working woman will always say, well, I work hard. And even if it's true, it's like, that's not the point. We're saying most men work harder. And why? Because they'll die if they don't. Like, I mean, not literally. Well, maybe. I mean, you know, they'll starve. That's the food in their mouths. It's the shirt on their backs. That's the girl in their bedroom. That's their life. That's their kids. And there's really not much of an option. You know, like, you have to do this. And when you're doing it to survive, you fucking goddamn right you work harder.
You know, I made a video recently talking about it, literally saying that men have to succeed to survive. Women don't. That was like the title of it. And that's exactly it. You know, and it's funny because they're talking about the statistics that women are less happy than men now compared to the last 100 years. So since feminism has completely spurned up things, women are less happier than they were back in the 1950s. Think about that rationally.
Well, I mean, that's the price you pay. I mean, if you I agree. Now, you know, I am an egalitarian. I believe in equal opportunity, and all the things that roaming millennials said, I'm pretty much on board with her for most of those things. I don't consider myself a Republican, but like, I agree with that principle, but there is a price to it. When you say that and you say, here's equal opportunity under the law, equal opportunity, equal responsibility as well. You know, we want that as well. I know they brought that up in the other stream. Of course, we want equal responsibility. And of course, I don't think we're there. But I think that's the problem. We agree on a lot of the problems. But the point is when you do that, you have to understand that when you go into these careers, the burden of that responsibility is kind of soul crushing for most people. But
did you just say you don't think we're at the point of equal opportunity yet for men and women?
And I think we breezed right past it.
Yeah, women are ahead of us now.
Women are but like, it's not good for them either because they're out there and they're failing, and like you said, they're less happy. It's bad for women, and it's bad for men. And really, it kind of only for us, it's just kind of shining a light on what was already sort of there anyway. A lot of it. Feminism is ironically patriarchal in its they take care of women, protect women, serve women. That's still feminism, and it's still patriarchy, right? The old school patriarchy that they always talk about. It's the same basic thing.
You know, here's something about egalitarianism, though, and this is, I don't know if you've considered this. This is an issue. They will simply rebrand it and simply say, well, egalitarianism is about equality between men and women, but then isn't that what feminism originally was? I mean, you have to be so careful using the so-called word egalitarianism, because just like, you know, they said feminism was about social and political equality and economic equality of men.
This is the problem. This is the problem with saying that. And this is the problem with people who say, I'm an egalitarian and I think I just did it and I fucking hate myself for it. Now, because when you say you're an egalitarian, you're just not saying much. You're saying something that everyone kind of is, almost. Right. Almost everybody kind of is. You believe in the basic principle that there should be some kind of equality, but what kind of equality is in the methods. When feminists say they want equal representation and equal outcome, that's still an egalitarian principle, because the end goal is equality. But what kind of equality? It's equality of outcome. That's representation. That's discrimination. That's discriminatory by nature. You have to discriminate in order to achieve equality of outcome. So we don't like that.
There you go.
So equality of opportunity says take your shot. It's all merit based. I believe, unlike a lot of my fucking friends, I believe in the discrimination laws that came after the civil rights movement, right? The protected classes. You can't discriminate against gender, race, sex, and disability, right? Within everything has to be based on merit. You can't discriminate against somebody for arbitrary factors. Those people get a shot. That doesn't mean they're going to do better. It doesn't mean they're going to have any advantages. It means exactly the opposite of that. But then they come out with affirmative action, which is in direct contrast to these, anti-discrimination laws. It is discrimination, and they call it positive discrimination. Well, all you're doing is you're turning around and you're saying this law doesn't matter when we add for the black people. Now, black people get advantages, and we watched affirmative action. We watched how the black people failed because they were propped up to places that they couldn't handle, and they failed. And even after that, there was the psychological thing. Did I get here on my own merit, or did I get here because I was black? It hurt them. And it will hurt women as well in the same way. Because, at the end of the day, companies are going to favor the person who does the better job. And that person's going to get a bigger salary. He's going to go higher. I just
something interesting that happened last year when Donald Trump was running for president. A woman asked him, "Will you ensure that women receive equal pay for equal work?" Do you remember this? She asked him at a press conference, and he responded. He said, "If she does as good a job."
I'm sorry, say that again.
Okay, a woman asked Donald Trump at one of his rallies last year, "If you become president, will you make sure that women receive equal pay to men?" And he responded, "If they do as good a job."
Yeah.
And she completely was shut down on the spot. That's
the answer, isn't it? I'm not even really a fan of Trump, but you can't. It's so hard not to defend him, though, because the opposition is they're just that much worse. But yeah, you're right. They were right in the stream we did before this. They were right when they said, or when they started to say, is it equal responsibility as well? And I said yes. And then they're like, yeah, but it never turns out that way. Well, that's because we never fucking go for that goal. There's always somebody going, oh yes, but women deserve more because of oppression. Oh yes, but black people deserve more because of oppression. And I think we've seen time and time again, it's like banging your head against a brick fucking wall. That
what's funny about
that how that actually is counterproductive, and it's not actually helping the people. We play this game where we go, women have more, and I think in the grand scheme that's true, but we don't ever think about, well, they're being also harmed by this system.
You're getting trapped in a cycle of poverty, and you don't even realize it. You're getting trapped in a cycle of where you're losing rights, but you don't realize it. You think it's your right to work. No, you're losing the freedom to stay home. You think it's your right to get government handouts or Section 8. No, you don't realize that the government is now putting you in a ghetto. You're becoming trapped in a cycle of poverty. It's your right to work. It's not your right to live off the government. It's not your right to get benefits. That's something that women don't understand, that this stuff hurts them. If you look at many communities that have been affected by this crap, they're destroyed because you have many generations that grew up on Section 8, on welfare programs, and these people, they no longer know how to survive, how to provide for themselves. And you have generation after generation that didn't go to college, didn't establish wealth for themselves. Everything was given to them by the government. So now you have multiple generations that basically passed on a culture of, okay, basically wait for the government to hand you something.
Yeah. Hang on. Misanthric Altruist says I'm backpedaling on having said I was egalitarian. First of all, I am egalitarian. That doesn't stop being true just because I recognize the nuance. Second of all, I did in the stream recognize the nuance. If you were paying attention, you might have been fucking with the chat at that time, but I said it multiple times. So I'm being completely consistent. Yes, I am egalitarian. I think plenty of MGTOW are egalitarian in their beliefs. I don't think that matters. There's a deep nuance inside of that says, well, what kind of equality do you want? It is not enough to say you're egalitarian. It's just not.
You have to
specify what you mean when you say equality.
Exactly.
Because it's different things. I mean, I could mean absolute equality. That's an absolute impossibility. People aren't equal. Men and women aren't equal. I am not equal to angry MGTOW. I'm not equal to misanthropic altruist. That's why we strive for a meritocracy where the work you can do, what you can put in is what you get back. That's it. That's fucking simple. It's kind of the point of America in a way. It's kind of what we, I know you're not necessarily in America. You're in some bunker somewhere in an unknown location, but I'm in America. And,
here's something funny. We all have different advantages, and I'll tell you something ironic about this. They say, there's some things that you can do that I can't do, and there are things that I can do that you can't do. And there are people who will never be equal to either of us. There's a guy, for example, who is currently in a wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair. He has no arms, no legs. He has like these tiny little stubs, and he can't basically do. He can do very little, very, very little. But he does a lot. But I will admit that he does a lot that more than you'd imagine. But he's not going to sit there and type out, get on Hangouts like this very easily. He's not going to go for a run. He's not going to be as active or as capable in an office environment. He's not going to become a computer programmer. And these are things that are cut off from him. But at the same time, he's a motivational speaker that is making at least hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of dollars, sharing what he's learned. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but again, we all have advantages and disadvantages.
Right.
And
it's a simple principle that I think people misunderstand a lot. And I think we were talking to Markov, or with Red Pill Ghost, whatever the fuck where he is now. We were talking to this dude, and that was a long-standing thing with me. And the only beef I ever had with him is how he butchered the definition of egalitarianism. And it frustrates me too, because anti-feminists do the same thing. They butcher it. They pretend that egalitarianism is a... You concede to the notion that equality of opportunity always leads to equality of outcome. I concede to the notion that that's how it's turned out. Yeah. I don't think it has to lead to equality of outcome, no. So
yeah,
if we made the rules and we stuck to the rules, it wouldn't happen. I mean, but yeah, it's a difficult fight. I don't know if you're ever going to win it, but you try. I think you should try.
Yeah, I definitely think that. Like I said, I think that all we can really do is focus on our own lives and our own happiness and what we're doing and ourselves. In this economy, though, I don't think things are going to get better anytime soon. I mean, I think Trump is doing his best to change things, but even then, a lot of the jobs that were once there are gone. And I think that things are going to be much harder going forward. I also think there's going to be a lot more millennials just dropping out of the workforce entirely due to job burnout. And it's going to be very, very prominent among young women, where they discover, well, I can't do this job anymore. I can't go into this job anymore. And when they don't have that option, because women will shut down. When these women completely shut down, but they don't have the government to rely on, they're going to basically discover something that men have known for a long time. There is no government. If we can't go to the government and get benefits, and if we can't, and we also can't turn around to, get another man to take care of us. And as more and more young men are becoming poorer and dropping out of society, women will have fewer men to choose from to help support them.
Yeah.
Plus, the government to help support them, they're going to have fewer options. So basically, there's going to be a lot more homeless women. There's going to be a lot more women that basically are going to literally say, shit, feminism fucked us over. And it's going to be kind of sad when all these worms like Anita Sarkeesian literally scurry away, and Gloria Steinem literally scurry. They're just going to go underground. That's what they're going to do. When shit hits the fan and women suddenly realize that feminism fucked up their lives, all these great feminist icons are going to literally go back underground like slugs. You know that?
Yeah. I mean, if it goes that far, my hope is that it won't go that far. But you're right. I mean, it's people pretend like I'm talking about something that we've achieved. I don't talk about this in terms of achieving it. I'm talking about it in terms of preserving what we have and trying to return to form. And you want to keep criticizing this. I love that you go to YouTube and you type in feminism and you have to wade through anti-feminist material before you get to an actual feminist video. I like that people are watching the YouTube more than they're watching TV. They're watching YouTube more than they're watching mainstream media. And who's on YouTube? The fucking anti-feminists. I don't care if you guys hate these guys or not. They're opposition to feminism and they're dominating the space, and the space is being dominated by the market. So, I mean, I don't know. I have a little bit of hope that this is starting to fall apart a little bit.
Well, I've said it before. Feminism is dead. I mean, the only thing that propelled feminism so far was marketing. Mainstream feminism became popular in the mainstream about 2-3 years ago as a marketing tool. It became a marketing gimmick, and the companies basically started hopping on and saying, maybe we can channel anger and resonate, this victimization crap to sell more things to this generation of brainwashed, cheap millennials. Mm-hmm. But as feminism dissolves in the mainstream media, as it becomes less popular, which it is, as more and more people stop talking about it, then suddenly the fad runs out. And as soon as the fad of feminism runs out in mainstream media, that's when the nastiness of feminism just will be literally visible. And everyone's going to say, nope, I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm honestly going to say that the day will come very soon when Beyonce will say that she doesn't feel like she needs to call herself a feminist anymore. She still supports the feminist ideals, but no longer needs to refer to herself by the label. And she will literally try to perpetuate something along the lines of egalitarianism. And she won't say which form of egalitarianism. She'll just say, I believe in the equality, blah, 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 which is the same exact crap. But many of these same people who pushed feminism to this point are going to back away from it entirely. There's a lot of people who aren't speaking right now because they don't want to be bothered with all the attacks. And networks like Twitter and Facebook that are censoring people, these networks are just hurting themselves, because if they see that people start looking to other platforms to express themselves, then they will begin changing their policies as well.
Yeah, and I'm still in the chat because they're very active tonight. While we celebrate the fallacious notion that feminism is failing, real life laws are being passed against women. I agree with everything you're saying. I think it is wrong to say that it's completely falling apart. But I want to think that it's starting to, and it is starting to. But you're right. There are still bills being passed. There are still laws being made that hurt men. There's still a major feminist presence that is baffling to me. It's alarming.
I'm going to step away for a minute. Just keep talking. Talk to the people in the chat.
All right. Anti-feminism winning a trend on YouTube and nothing more. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. But I don't think... I think the more you see of the craziness, the absolute craziness, the more reasonable people tend to become. But optimism is compelling. Just like pussy, you're right, dude. But I don't know. It's just me reflecting on what I see in the media, and you're right, in the laws. But I also see it when I bring that outside and I talk to people, normal people in the world. I don't see all of the feminazis. It seems pretty easy to just talk to somebody, say, what's your opinion, and hear them say all of the things that you're saying in the chat. So I don't know. I don't know how to gauge anymore. It's really difficult too with the mainstream media that is impossible to trust. And but I would like to hold on to the optimism enough to keep going and keep supporting people who do bigger work than anybody on YouTube. MGTOW is one to you. MGTOW, I don't know if there's a lot of people you would say follow MGTOW who would never call themselves MGTOW, identify with the community, but men are increasingly disinterested in marriage.
Honestly, that's the absolute truth. I keep saying that when it comes to MGTOW, it's just a title. MGTOW is just a descriptor of the lifestyle. And I keep warning, guys who try to push MGTOW into this other region of trying to redefine it as something else, that, if you do this, then you're just going to alienate other men that would listen to the MGTOW philosophy and would agree with your points or disagree. But when you start creating this echo chamber where everyone has to agree with what you're saying, then people will just walk away. MGTOW is about, these are men going their own way as it is. But if you start trying to embed a government and tell them how to go their own way, they're just going to say, fuck you.
I mean, yeah, you confuse me with the whole MGTOW thing still. I just don't know anymore. I am avidly anti-marriage, and I will never do it. I don't want kids. I'll never have kids. If that's MGTOW, if that's a level of MGTOW or whatever, I don't really know, but that's always been me.
Yeah, I mean,
just from observation.
I mean, you're not getting married. You're not having children. You're focusing on yourself and your own happiness.
Right, but I will have a girlfriend in a relationship with but there is that agreement up front, and I have no doubts in my mind that women tend to change. You know who I'm dating now, and you know how old she is, and someone of that age, it's legal. She's 21.
You're rocking.
I'm robbing the cradle a little bit, but whatever, young pussy is good. But the point is, but I'm also a little more pragmatic. I'm not some teenager who's pussy. I honestly, I don't think I've ever been like that. But I like companionship. I like sex. I like women. I like having relationships with women. But I do have precautions. I understand every and all risk there is. And I did choose to take them, but I'm also a heavy smoker and a heavy drinker, so I take a lot of fucking risks.
Hey, that's MGTOW. First off, you're taking the risk, but you rationalize and admit, hey, you're taking a risk. You pointed out right off the bat that women do change.
I love the judgment. I said every broken man before he broke.
Don't date. MGTOW is date. Don't date. MGTOW is you. Decide. That's exactly it. Interdimensional Wiz points it out. MGTOW is nothing but a label. This is the nonsense that I'm trying to get through the heads of some of these guys. And let me tell you something. Like guys like the Red Pill Ghost, you can hear this guy is very weak. You can tell, can't you?
Yeah, I feel sadness when I hear his voice. Yes.
He is fucking frightened. He is absolutely frightened. And
but the thing is, I was trying to be nice because I didn't do a good job, and I'm sorry, but I was trying to be nice because I guess I remember being young. Let's just stop there. Yeah, I remember being young. I remember being younger and a little more emotional, a little less in control of myself, a little less very difficult to understand women, but always wanting them. That kind of thing. And even now, I'll say I think, being a MGTOW to some degree, I think you should still fuck. I'm sorry, you should explore yourself sexually. I'm a horrible person. I understand it's pretty dangerous when you're young too, but the idea of not fucking, I can't relate to that in my brain. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm old school. But the advice I give to younger people is not to commit to a relationship. I wouldn't want that.
There are, as I'm getting older now, there's a couple things that you can do to protect yourself. And I didn't really learn these initially. For example, one, don't shit where you eat. So when you're a younger guy, college campuses are toxic. So don't date the girls on college campus that you go to
school
with.
Especially now. The fucking kangaroo courts in the college system. It seems almost impossible not to be a rapist. I know that's me from the outside looking in, not understanding them today, but it's so dangerous, so dangerous. You're right. Go somewhere else. Go to a bar.
Don't date women Don't date women you work with. Don't date women at college. And here's another thing: the whole thing with the bar. Also, try to avoid fucking drunk women. That's my personal thing. Also, try to.
Yeah, don't take them home that night. I never did that though. I always got the number. I did that.
I mean, here's the thing: you can. I don't think taking a girl home the same night is problematic. I think I like doing that. I like first night immediate lays. If you make yourself clear, like, hey, I'm just looking to fuck, but just don't make sure don't pick up drunk girls. That's another thing, so they can't use alcohol against you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't follow that rule, but I would advise it.
Exactly.
I think, I broke every rule that I'm gonna say. You know.
But here's the thing, that's as a MGTOW. You see, that's the thing about being a MGTOW. As a man going your own way, and it's just a label. As a man choosing not to get married, have children, and focus on yourself, you know that those are risks, and you chose to take those risks. You reap the rewards, but you also took the risk, and you also could have gotten into some very serious implications. A girl could have said you raped her. Again, you took that risk. That was your decision. Now to say that you should tell young men, don't do those things, that's not my business to tell young men don't do those things. It's every man's decision to make those choices. You're here talking about the reasons why it's not a good idea to do that, but you can't tell any young man not to do those things.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, like I said, I don't know, I wouldn't call myself a MGTOW, but I definitely, I relate to you on, especially marriage. But I do think that a sort of MGTOW-ish lifestyle is smart for a younger kid, and it's not just about avoiding risk. It's about understanding women. I just know when I and not that we'll ever fucking understand them fully. They're fucking broken, but there's a thing that I witnessed growing up was watching all these kids, male kids with a lot of potential, throw all that potential away because they got someone pregnant at a really young age, and it really does, like, they really do throw it all away. You know, you get a 16-year-old pregnant, and your life just got complicated. So.
You know, I will say one great thing that I'm noticing. I was wondering how the stream would go, considering that the main focus of the stream is not exactly around men. Even though we're talking about the issue, the topic is quality of life is getting worse in America. And there's 54 people watching right now. So this means that people will actually watch the videos, potentially, even if they don't have anything to do with feminism, which I'm getting absolutely tired of discussing.
Mm-hmm. It's hard not to talk about it with angry MGTOW.
I would find a way. I am going to find a way. Like, I'll talk about what's happening in Sweden.
I like complaining about women.
We all like
assholes. Women are assholes.
You're assholes. You do have a nice girl, though. You definitely found a nice girl. I'm not saying she won't run off at some point, but, you know, have fun right now.
We'll see. I don't even know if I can be affected by that anymore. But I mean, thanks, misanthropic altruist. I like you. I kind of like this guy. But yeah, I mean, there's so much nuance to it, and I understand the fear, and I understand the fear of the risk. But I've been taking risks my whole life. It's just my personality. I smoke, I drink. I'm like ready to die. I don't know. I just like to. I'm a little bit hedonistic, and I guess that's something that, you know, whatever damages come from that. And so far, I've been pretty lucky. Whatever damages come from that, I understand what they are, and fingers crossed. I don't know. Just throwing it out there, but yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people, like, the first thing that Markov did when I jumped in that stream is say they're anti-feminists here, or anti-MGTOW here. Sorry, I'm not fucking anti-MGTOW. I relate more to MGTOW probably than a lot of the people who, you know, the egalitarians. I don't know what they call themselves anymore. Skeptic community, anti-SJW community. I don't fucking care what the, you know, whatever these people are who hate the same things that I hate. We don't always agree. So the idea that we're a community blows everybody's mind, because we disagree with each other on so many fucking things. But I mean, no, I don't think most of us. You talked to Bering, right? You think Bering was going to be hardcore anti-MGTOW when you talked to him?
Honestly, I didn't know much about Bering. I honestly thought he was probably going to come after us, and he turned out not to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against you. I don't. Do I have to be one of you to be with you? Like that
That's
sort
the
of.
thing. That's the thing, Ed. Like, you say that you don't call yourself a MGTOW. This is the problem. MGTOW is just it's just a description of specific behaviors. In other words, it's just a name for what men are doing.
MGTOW is masculinity. All right, well, I got that. I got that in space.
Again, people are trying to redefine it. You can take away the name MGTOW, and then you'll still have men choosing not to get married, not to have children, and basically focus on themselves and whatever they enjoy doing. You can call it whatever. You can call that bachelorhood. You can simply call it bachelorhood, and because that's what you're doing right now, and it still wouldn't.
Well, not really, because I'm dating now. I mean,
Yeah, but you're not getting
just fucking around.
You're not getting married. See,
no.
So I mean, you're quite firm. You're not getting married. You're not having children.
No, I'm against. But see, I'm also this came before seeing the world and saying, "Oh, men have it so bad." I didn't even get to that point. I didn't like the concept of marriage. I didn't like the legality of marriage. I don't believe in the system. So, I mean, that was the first thing. And then you started looking at the inequity in marriage law. In child custody. That's awful. See, I may have at one point wanted a kid, but that was dashed away very quickly when I watched just people I know, just TV shows, and then eventually I started reading about the laws, and it is a horrible problem for fathers. It's just a terrible thing, and to be a good and a happy father seems to be. And maybe I'm overdoing it. It's probably overdoing it, but it seems to be like a rare thing to just to be a happy father with a happy family. Even if you get a divorce, to still be happy, to still have your to see your kid and spend all your time with your kid. It seems maybe because you never know if you're spending too much time reading all the bad shit that you don't ever see the good shit, but. The risk is too much. The risk is absolutely too much for me. And I was already against the concept of marriage to begin with. So that just strengthened my resolve there.
All right. Well, guys, so let me know what you guys think. Do you agree that the quality of life is getting worse in America for millennials? And do you think that men in general have it more difficult than women when it comes to degrading quality of life? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers.